Alright, this is it. I feel like this is the final section. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Again? Oh, well, I guess I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around on duty. To top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. You said that line before. I take it Lana's having you run errands again? Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give this to you if there was a break in today's trial. Evidence law? Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day. 2 rules of evidence, I guess? Yeah, 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1, no evidence shall be shown without approval of the police department. Seems so. Study some evidence law. I guess time to study. The chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? She said if you're planning to take him on, you're gonna need this book. Him. I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. In the pocket. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. The 2 rules. Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Rule number 2, unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Okay. I guess those are the rules for the Phoenix Wright universe anyway. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, detective. Huh? Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat, despite all these allegations being thrown at me. Mr. Edgeworth, the real trial today hasn't begun yet. What? What is there left to do? Your credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. Emma Skye found out she unwittingly caused the man's death, and now you're telling me you want to do more? You gotta be kidding me, pal! You're missing the point, detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. What? And we're going to expose him, no matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. Right, how are we gonna do that? I mean, the person blackmailing Lana is, well, Mr. Old Police Chief. How do we bring him down, I guess? I don't know, like, who called her to stab the knife into the body in the first place and, you know, take the body and hide it away? We can only assume the real murderer, and who called her? We can only assume her blackmailer, and who's her blackmailer? Damon Gaunt. And why was he blackmailing her? Because she was trying to cover up Emma Skye's supposed accidental murder, right? So, I mean, I guess it's Damon Gaunt? Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. The Inquiry Committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well, normally this is where the prosecution calls for a witness, but this isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have struck a bargain. You think I might have manipulated the witnesses? I wouldn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone has been talking and... Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. What? But there's no precedent for what you're proposing. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Unbelievable. Edward has found a way to continue the trial. Very well, the defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Then it's settled. The defense may now call forth the next witness. Mr. Wright. You do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. Defense calls. Time has finally come to bring out the real murderer. It's me, Kittens! He's the true murderer! You know, actually, well, I don't know. What happens, you probably get like a generic game over, you know? Because I was wondering, can I just like bring out all the wrong people and they'll be like, hey, I didn't do it. I was like, oh, okay. And then we lose. They probably didn't do that. They probably, you know, just have a generic game over. So it probably won't be interesting to bring out the wrong person. I mean, obviously it's Damon Gone. I mean, I don't know how he did it, why he did it. I don't know much about him, other than the fact that he looks kind of evil. Kind of evil about this whole deal. You know, because it feels like he's manipulated everything in order to get Edgeworth into, like, you know, into trouble, basically. Right? And he's been blackmailing Lana. And we know this because we found evidence pertaining to Emma's little incident in Damon Gone's safe. Which I mean, most likely it belonged to him. Why would he be keeping it? In order to, you know, manipulate Lana, I guess. Right? Because otherwise he wouldn't have any personal interest in, you know, not convicting Emma. They have no real connection, really. Maybe, I assume. I don't know. Damon Gaunt. The defense calls Damon Gaunt to the stand. Damon Gaunt? What does he have to do with anything? As the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gaunt has first-hand knowledge of the crime. Also the fact that all the forged evidence and everything, you know, Edgeworth got in trouble, a bunch of detectives got in trouble, Lana Skies has like confessed to that, but no charges against Damon Gaunt, so that's suspicious. So I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he still should be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. Alright, bailiff, please escort Mr. Gaunt to the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this, some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation. So, you want to play hard though, eh? Please, Mr. Gaunt. Fine. My name is Damon Gaunt. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Gaunt, the court requests to hear your testimony. Alright, so what's with that grim face? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean at that time when Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There are still some things unaccounted for. Oh, like what? Like the role you played in all of this. Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. You are aware, of course, of the police chef or chef? No, chef. I was gonna say chef, but I corrected myself, but then I said chef instead. Anyway, you are aware, of course, that the police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Sure, take my testimony for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Of course, such an action carries with certain risks. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well, the witness may now begin his testimony. Okay. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently, she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Is that when Dark was arrested? Him? He was lying on the floor unconscious. When Emma sent Neo flying, it seems Dark bumped his head. Well, that's a lot of strength, Emma just tackling them, and somehow she killed someone, and the other guy fell unconscious. Amazing. I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut. If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I better hit him hard and fast. Yeah, I don't know. Can I press him? I feel like if I press him, he's gonna say, well, you're wasting my time. See you later, Righto. See you later, Righto. You're wasting my time. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently I already arranged a crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. So I don't know. I'm only, I don't know. I'm cautious because I feel like sometimes the game does that. Where it's like, hey, don't press him, you're gonna get penalties. I feel like that's what the game is hinting at me, so I shouldn't press him. So I have to like hit him with a contradiction. So I have nothing to do with the forgery. Ha ha! Hee hee! Woohoo! I think you do though. At the very least, you are the lead investigator in the SL9 incident, so... Oh yeah, and half of this was found in Gon's desk, right? List of evidence in the SL9 incident. Half of it was found in his desk. Why do you have this, God? You have something to do with the evidence. You have to be. It's either that or the case itself, the fact that he's the lead investigator, like, right? He has to hold some responsibility, shouldn't he? I feel like this is more conclusive though, or at least more, more connected. I think, yeah. I think, yeah. Hopefully I'm right. You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery. But I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this list, for example. That's the list Emma Sky drew a picture on. Well, this was discovered in your desk. Not only that, but a piece of this jar that was in your office was found inside your safe. It was found where? You see, Chief Gaunt, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the legal investigation. Chief Gaunt, what's the meaning of this? Oh, here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then, that you were involved in the forgery? Who, me? Or do you mean you? Me? Why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Righto? However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured Dick will receive his due punishment. What? What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work. In the negatives. Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office, and the relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My, kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragment and a list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when these pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I participate in the forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe the protocol. You do understand that I am the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. Oh. Indeed. I believe I will press charges, so you won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. Alright, Aji. In return, though... I know, that place, right? What? What place? What are you talking about? Are you blackmailing him too? I don't know. Okay. You could have planted them in my office. Can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. When? There's this. There's this. And there's this, of course. Unstable jar, this and that. Can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. If they're found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I participate in forgery. Reiterating the crime scene wouldn't help me in either way. Galen isn't the one who murdered Prosecutor Marshall 2 years ago, yet I know he played a part in the forgery. That can only mean someone asked him to be an accomplice. Someone's accomplice. Can I prove when these pieces of evidence were discovered? I don't know if I can. Because I'm looking at it now. Handprint? I don't know. She could have like touched that print anytime. There's this evidence. I guess there's this picture that Emma wrote. Or drew or whatever, but how do we prove that? I don't know. She did say, her testimony did say that she drew it on that, so maybe that's when you can prove it? And this jar, there's no... As far as I know, there's no way to prove that this jar was related. Like, there's no, like, timestamp on it, I don't know. Look at his sentences clearly. There's no reason I pursued forgery, rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me anyway. There's no reason I participate in forgery, rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me in any way. Maybe you had a reason? I don't know. Had a reason, maybe? Can I okay, I'm gonna press him. I feel like, again, the first time I didn't want to press him because I was thinking like maybe he'll penalize me, but let's see. Can I press him? What do you mean by that? This is all purely hypothetical, of course, but suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery. If concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery, I'm not through speaking yet, Righto. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. Okay, but maybe I can press him. I didn't get penalized or anything, so maybe I can press him. I don't know. Then again, maybe there's only like a limited amount of times you can press him. I don't know now. Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after Dark was sentenced. Oh, and wouldn't that be convenient? Right. The chief is talking about a possibility. So long as you can't rule that out, your marks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know. Come on now, Righto. Think about it. There's no reason I participate in a forgery. How can you look me in the eye and say that? Because I'm innocent. Remember? Who was it that murdered Neil? I'm not sure I care for the word murder here, but in the end the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Skye. Well, now do you see? Wouldn't help me in any way. Really, Chief Gon. At the very least, there is one very large benefit you reap from all this. Oh, I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would be, of course, the position you have, Chief of Police. Oh. The resolution of SO9 incident secured your permission to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Oh, that's a good one. Huh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SO9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes, he was going to be made chief anyway. Ah! Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There, it's out in the open now. Gee, would you mind if I change my testimony a little? By all means, please do. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. Actually, let me press his initial statement. I want to see what he says here. I appreciate it if you stop making these ridiculous allegations. Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that. What? I'll have you know, back in the day, I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped Mr. Wright. What are you saying? Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry in the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're gonna need it later. Later? What are you talking about? What else? I'm talking about when Wright's prints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, they would prove his investigation was illegal. I've never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. Okay. And by the way, I'm pretty sure cattle tipping, or cow tipping, I think that's a myth. You can't tip a cow, because how do they sleep? They sleep on, you know, you imagine they don't sleep standing up, as far as I know anyway. They lie down, right? On their side, basically. Or like, kind of like on their side? Anyway. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there's nothing in it for me. Nothing in it for you. Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you better think again. You're right. I don't feel sorry for you. Don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Oh, that's a good one, Worthy. If there had been something in it for him, given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? Yes? True, you might not help out anyone for their sake, but if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to betray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean. Very well then. Who is this person you believe Chief Gon may have helped forged evidence? 2 people. Either Bruce Goodman or Lana Skye. He was helping Lana Skye because she was trying to cover up for Emma, right? That's why he helped her. Bruce Goodman, we don't know much about him though, so I don't know actually. Would he help Bruce Goodman? Yeah, I just don't know much about Bruce Goodman. Like, Bruce Goodman's motives during the SL9 case, I have no idea. He was the only detective that stayed a detective, right? That's suspicious, but otherwise, I don't know why... Like, we don't know who, like, what Bruce is. Like, was Bruce like, you know, hey, help me forge evidence so I can keep my job as a detective or something? I don't know. He didn't get, like, a promotion, so... maybe not. So the only person I can think of is Lana Skye, right? Like, Cowboy got demoted, Lunch Lady got fired, Emma apparently is the one that caused accidental murder, Gumshoe wasn't there, Meekins wasn't there. Lana? Maybe? Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye, the defendant. I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? As for the Chief Gaunt, he would also have reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed Chief Prosecutor at the Prosecutor's Office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gaunt. But how would he profit from all of this? Well, I mean, I think the lunch lady told us before, Angel Star, if he had someone, you know, in his pocket in the prosecutor's office, it makes his job easier when he wants to control stuff in the case, right? He controls the prosecutors and the police. He would be able to use the chief prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite the chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? That reminds me of an anime, actually. I think there's an anime, like, people, like, an actual, like, I don't know what you call it, but, like, in, I guess, you know, ancient Japan. Not too old, but, like, kind of, you know, ancient. I guess more like medieval Japan. There is, like, a type of play where people actually put on puppets, right? Make little stories with puppets and everything. I think there's an anime about that. I think it's good. That's what I've heard anyway. Never watched it yet, though. I forgot the name. Anyway. Oh, wait. You must mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Oh, never mind. Okay. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive to appoint her as chief prosecutor so you could control her. Right, so my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Lana. She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gaunt. I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless that is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Which one would that be? Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The chief prosecutor has been acting strange throughout the entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gaunt is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? Order. I said order. Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. Huh? This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder? That's impossible. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said and in easier to understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. Looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder? Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gaunt is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. Alright then. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and it better be good. Show us his evidence that ties Chief Gaunt to the murder of Detective Goodman. That's hard to do. There's only one thing that connects him to the murder, or at least the incident in general. I mean, there was that gloved, I guess, handprint. I don't know if you have that, as in the court record. He is wearing gloves, so. But if there's one thing ties him, I guess, is the fact that, you know, the 7 sevens. Again, it's kind of flimsy. Maybe it'll make sense. But the fact that his password is the same as his ID card might prove that he indeed went to the evidence room at 4:20 for some reason. So at the very least, it ties him to the case. I don't know if it ties him to the murder, but let's see. This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 7 sevens. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It is your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gaunt's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits? You don't mean. I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 7 sevens. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gaunt, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. You know, if I was a prosecutor, I would yell, "Objection! That doesn't mean anything. Just because my password for my computer is, you know, I love a Stoffel, doesn't mean that's my ID for, like, you know, anywhere else. I could have a different ID, a different password anywhere else. It's just pure coincidence. I don't know." Anyway. Chief Gaunt, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense's search in my office was in violations of regulations. And I will demand Mr. Wright to be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. Chief Gaunt, so you admit it. You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? What about it? I'm chief of police, whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Now tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he? I hadn't seen him in days. You hadn't seen him in days. Chief Gaunt, I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? The trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt. No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gaunt met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm gonna have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gaunt on the day of the crime. Actually, I don't know. What? This? SL9? Went to meet Chief Gaunt on the day of the crime. Day of the crime. Day of the crime. Anything else? Because that's the only thing I can think of, his note concerning SL9, right? And because we already proved that the Bruce Goodman here is not the real Bruce Goodman, his ID card was stolen. So he had to have went to the evidence room at some point, right? Or at least intended to, right? But the victim went to meet Chief Gaunt on the day of the crime. 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 Oh, but there's this. His lost item report as well. Can only be submitted by the Chief of Police. You know? Oh, that's one reason why he went to Chief Gaunt on February 21st. Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the Chief of Police. Yet you are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed it to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh. Yeah, because he was also in charge of the SL9 incident. He was in charge of that evidence. Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gaunt. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Hold on, let me guess what you're trying to say next. I, the Chief of Police, murdered poor Goodman. Exactly. But wait, the Chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. Lightning! Chief Gaunt, you got hit by a thunderbolt. Wow! You didn't. The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the Chief of Police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gaunt, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time I thought it was a useless clue just taking up space. Ah, I know what Phoenix is getting at. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us his evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief Gaunt used this. He told a certain someone to get this piece of evidence that we all thought was, pretty useless, like another case that nobody cares about. Well, this is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. What's that? A screwdriver? But what does this have to do with the case? Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is this screwdriver doing here? It's here because... I was asked to go by Chief Gaunt unless. He told me he wanted me to keep this here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. Yeah. It was all a ploy. After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because Chief Gaunt asked you to. You mean I... The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Yes, unless, of course, you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation: to transport the body to your accomplice, to Miss Lana Skye. Order, order, order. What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations? Well, think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It is a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gaunt, please say something. I believe... Your time's up? My time's up? Sorry, Wright, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're gonna make it time for early bird special. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. So you're gonna just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed Al Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, You think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gaunt is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright? Your Honor? Do you have the concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gaunt murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Skye dispose of his body. Do I have any concrete proof? I don't know. You like how Edgeworth just wants the truth? Yeah, I mean, I guess that's how his character develops. You know, he's less about trying to bring us down and winning. He's more about finding exactly what's going on. I mean, in this case in particular, he's definitely on our side at this point. Because he's in hot trouble too, you know? If everything falls through, he's not gonna be in a good spot because old Damon Gaunt is gonna like sue him or something, or fire him or whatever, I don't know. Charge him with stuff. But let's see, do we have proof that he murdered Goodman? I don't know. Do we? Do we have proof that he murdered Goodman? There's a glove, floor plans. Oh, here's this. There's this like little... I mean, I have one thing. I don't know if it's conclusive. It's a little circumstantial. But the fact that there's a pile of blood here, and there's a glove print, right? There's a glove print there. The only people who had been there before the Blue Badger was put in there, so, because assuming the Blue Badger was in the way, there's no way there was a glove print there, of blood anyway. Mike Meekins came at 450, right? And put it there. So only people before that will be Miles Edgeworth and Damon Gaunt, supposedly. And the thing is, Miles Edgeworth, I mean, it's assuming a lot, but he doesn't have a glove that he normally wears, so there wouldn't be a glove print there. But Damon Gaunt does. He always wears gloves, so that's maybe one thing that connects him to the murder. But other than that, it's still circumstantial. It's not conclusive, I feel like. You know, it's assuming a lot. There's assumptions. You know, for example, Edgeworth could have worn gloves. I don't know. But then again, we've proven that Edgeworth, you know, may have not have killed Goodman. I can't remember if we did or not. Hmm. I'm gonna take a chance. Let's see. I can't let him just squirm his way out of this one. I've gotta keep the pressure on. Yes, Your Honor. I do have such evidence. Then please hurry up and present it. Just remember, it better prove Chief Gaunt murdered Detective Goodman beyond a shadow of a doubt. Again, shadow of a doubt. That's wrong. It's beyond reasonable doubt, not shadow of a doubt. Or at least, I don't know, within reasonable doubt, I think. Shadow of a doubt is too much, because that's impossible, you know. I only have one piece of evidence. It's this, the floor plans. But if this is wrong, then I have nothing, really. So, let's see. So, what exactly is this evidence? It's proof. As to whether or not it's not enough to demonstrate the Chief's guilt, I'll let you be the judge. But I am the judge. Okay, I feel like this is wrong. Alright, well, what do you think, Your Honor? Well, it's gonna be late for lunch. I guess it wasn't enough. I'll say it again. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without any concrete proof. Do you have any concrete proof? Okay, fine. I don't think I have any proof because I feel like, you know, I have no proof yet. I feel like maybe we can like get some proof later. You know, maybe Edgeworth will say something. Help us out, Edgeworth, please. I mean, he's been helping us, but could you help us better? I don't know. It's no use showing evidence I'm not even sure myself. No, Your Honor. At present, I have no conclusive evidence. CLG? In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the Chief. What? Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, alrighto. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, LG. I'll leave the rest to you. Game over? Well, I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to the senior officer in the nation's law enforcement agency. Wah! Lady Luck, Maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth? Another witness? In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gunn has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else. One more witness who can answer all the questions raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room. Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person? Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling the witnesses today. Okay, he's passing the buck. Or passing the puck? Anyway, Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? She may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor, the defense calls forth a lady. Lady? Those are three ladies. Lunch lady, scientist lady, prosecutor lady. Actually, I'm not sure. He did say lady, right? I mean, lunch lady, Lady Luck, that makes sense. But then again, Phoenix was saying something about how, you know, she wasn't willing to tell the truth. You know, Lana Sky, I mean, she's pretty obvious, right? But the thing is, she's being blackmailed to protect Emma. So she can't say anything. She doesn't want to say anything. Emma? I don't know about Emma. She doesn't really know anything, right? At least the forging anyway, because we're trying to prove that Damon Gaunt is the one who murdered Goodman. He's the one that orchestrated this whole thing in the first place, and forging evidence, right? How do we connect him to that? It's either Lana or Angel Star. But Angel Star, I feel like she was a detective, but I don't think she was very involved in the forged evidence, so there's only one person. It's Lana. But this whole time, she hasn't been very helpful, so I don't know. Maybe we can squeeze some information out of her, I don't know. The defendant, Miss Lana Sky? Well, she was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 p.m. on February 21st. Her task, to dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now in... Hold on. Ah. Chief Gaunt? I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. He's talking to Lana. I don't think you don't need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neo Marshall's murder. No, this isn't good. Of course, you'll never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. Alright then. I've got a lunch date to meet. See ya! Okay. If there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess. Okay. Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. That chief. He's something else, eh, pals? Detective Gumshoe. I'm not a detective anymore. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Don't worry. I've already decided where to work now. At your office. Oh, you work here, in my office? Sure. I'll take the place of that top-knot girl you used to work with. Okay, I guess Gumshoes is our new waifu sidekick, obviously. Maya? Still, this looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gaunt's done it again. How's it always he gets the upper hand? Well, considering his position. It's not fair he has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, Wright. Remember what the judge said. But Chief, that is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered, yeah. Risks. What do you mean by that? It's simple. If the Chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? Oh, it's Emma. Sometimes I can't tell who's talking, you know, with the question marks, obviously. So, anyway. Emma, are you okay? Are you okay? Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery. So she heard everything that's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry what I said from before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. Relieved? Yeah. Now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. She did it all just to protect me. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her, says she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? Yeah, if Gumshoe is our new sidekick, I guess. He does all the work, but well, I don't know. Gumshoe isn't actually good at his job. I feel like we will be a better detective than Gumshoe. At best, I think he's more suited for like office assistant, you know, more like a receptionist job for him. Anyway. What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gaunt's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside. To force herself to do anything and everything the Chief told her to do. That must be why she became so cold. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. Hey, don't go blame yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal. We live in a society, pal. Chief God may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor. I see. Well, we better get back. It's time for the final act. Emma, why don't you wait? No, I'm going with you. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth. Let's go, Wright. It's time to end this. Okay. Oh, okay. To be continued.